Hello and welcome to the Chapter 10 supplemental video on missing dimensions. So we're going to go ahead and just get started right away. You don't necessarily need your textbook. You can always use your textbook, definitely want to refer back to it, but for this particular video, we're just going to have you have some lined paper out. You need to have a regular pencil with an eraser, colored pencils, and as usual, your brain and listening ears. So let's get right to it. For the first question we have here, and you'll see it says review up there. That's just so that I remember that this one was for review and not for the test. It says a pyramid has all sides that are equilateral. So I'm going to box some things as we go along to make sure that we know what's important. So obviously it's important that we know that this is a pyramid and it has all equal sides that are equilateral triangles. So that's a really important piece of information right there. Each triangle has side lengths of 9 centimeters. Also very, very important. If the surface area of the pyramid, so I'm going to underline surface area in a different color, of the pyramid is 140.4 square centimeters. Again, I'm sticking with pink because that goes with surface area. What is the slant height of the pyramid? So I'm going to go ahead and put this here. So now what you're looking for is the slant height of the pyramid. So let's go ahead and take a look at what this pyramid might look like. So we want to first start with the base, just like we do when we are working with a net that we can already see. So our base is going to be pretty simple. The base can be found by, whoops, let me go ahead and make that a little darker. We can go ahead and draw the base. I just want it to have enough room so that we can draw the lateral faces off of it. That may not be perfectly equilateral for our purposes, but it's the best that I have right now. So we're going to go with that. And then I'm going to label the dimensions of the sides inside the triangle. The reason I'm doing it inside is so that I have enough space to build the lateral faces for the pyramid off of the pyramid. So now, before we even dive into what everything is, we just want to make sure that we have the visual correct. So our next thing is going to be to draw the lateral faces, what we were just talking about. So let's go ahead and do that now. So because this is a triangular pyramid, or a triangular base pyramid, and I'm going to try as hard as I can to make these about the same size, because it's a triangular, equilateral triangular base pyramid, we know that all of these sides are also 9. Let's see if I can not mess this up. Whoop. Hold on one second. All right, so that's the best I have right there. So I know my equilateral triangular pyramid looks a little funky, but the yellow ones are going to be the lateral faces. So I'm just going to write that off to the side here, that yellow is going to be my lateral faces, and I'm just going to abbreviate. And again, inside, I'm going to write the dimensions 9, 9, 9. Hopefully, this just reminds me that everything here is 9. And that, again, is because this was an equilateral pyramid, triangular base pyramid. So now what we need to do is we need to think about the information that they gave us. They gave us the surface area already. So we know that that has to go on the left where surface area would normally go. So now we're going to put our 140.4 right up here at the top in the left. So 140.4 equals, now we really need to think. We're going to have 4 triangles that have the exact same area. So you want to think about that, 4 triangles, because you have the 3 yellow triangles and then you have the base, which is the green triangle. So that means that we should probably go ahead and put a 4 in front of whatever this formula for area of a triangle is going to be. So let's go ahead and write our 4 here. And then we're going to write our formula, which we know to be base times height divided by 2. Now, I just wanted you to see this for a moment. We do have the base, so we're going to plug that in the next step. But I just wanted you to get your mind around that. The 4 right here is because we have 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles, and they're all the same size. Stop, Rocky. So now that we know that we're going to have 4, let's also plug in the base that we already know. So I'm going to do it all in white. We have 140.4 equals 4 times, we know the base of the triangle is going to be 9. The height we don't know, and we know the formula we have to divide by 2 still. So today, when we were in class, I had you divide out the 4 right away, which algebraically is the correct way to do it, and you can do it that way every single time. Even if this is an odd number, like for instance, if the 4 was a 3, you could divide it out that way. So now what we're going to do, though, is we're going to make this a little bit easier on us. We're going to go ahead and cross simplify the 2 and the 4. So we're going to divide out that 2, and we get 1, and here we get 2. So now I'm going to rewrite the problem. We have 140.4, because that's been our surface area all along, equals 2 times 9h. So now we can just go ahead and distribute that 2 to the 9h and multiply it out, and we have our next piece of our equation, which is 140.4 equals 18h. So I'm running out of space here, so I'm just going to move this off to the side so that we can have room to solve it. I think you probably already know what comes next. We want to make this as easy as possible for you. So if you solve this equation, you would probably know that you're going to divide each side by 18 to get h by itself. So then you're going to cross simplify that, and now you have h equals, and then off to the side somewhere you want to do the math. 140.4 divided by 18. So I set the problem up here in the top right, and then I start to think about it, because 18 isn't going to go into 1, it's not going to go into 14, so now I'm stuck with 140, which is basically my whole number. So I'm going to think about 18. It's pretty close to 20, so 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140. So if this was 20, then I could get 7, but it's only 18, so it's actually going to be, let's see what 18 times 7 gives us. We get 126. So if we add another 18 to that, I think we're over. Yes, we're over. So 18 times 7 was a good guess. We're going to put the 7 right up there. I'm going to change it to pink so that you can see it. And we get 126. And then we're going to go ahead and subtract that out. We get 14. And then we're going to drop that 4. Don't forget the decimal. So now we have 144. And to myself, I'm wondering, 126 was 7. What's 8? So 18 times 8, I'm going to do over here, 64, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 144, what do you know? So now we got 7.8, and you have just solved a missing dimension problem for the height of a pyramid. So now you got that the height is going to be equal to 7.8 centimeters. Okay. Now remember, it's not centimeters squared, it's not centimeters cubed, it's just centimeters. All right, so now we're looking at another missing dimension question, and this one is about a triangular prism. So you want to notice right away that we've got a triangular prism. That's always something really important for you to look for. It says a gift box in the shape of a triangular prism has a volume, okay, this is a volume, of 140 cubic inches. So you want to also put the 140 cubic inches there. Then it says a base height of 10 inches. Now, notice I didn't underline base. It's because I don't want you to get confused because it says base height. I'm only going to underline height because what they're saying, though, with base height is that it's the height of the triangular base. It's not the height of the prism. So, and then it says in a height of 4 inches. So that height that it's talking about here, this is the height of the prism itself. So that is the prism height. And then it says, what is the length of the base? Okay, so now we need to find the length of the base. So this this question is very similar to one of the ones that you had on your quiz. And I would say probably half of you did well with this one, and another half of you probably didn't do so well. A lot of you were able to get one piece, but not the other. So I wanted to go through this again because you are going to see this question again. So let's go ahead and think about what we have here. We have a triangular prism, and our triangular prism has a base, right? And we've got actually 2 bases. So I'm going to first start with the base because that's what we normally do. So right here, I'm going to write base, triangle, and then we're going to go ahead and draw that triangle because we want to know what information we have. So then it says we have a height of 10 inches. So I'm going to draw that little line off to the side. We've got 10 inches. That's what they mean when they say base height. They mean the height. Let me draw that a little better. There we go. They mean the height of the base of your triangular prism. So now we've got a height of 10, but it doesn't tell us the base length. So notice here, I'm going to go ahead and put base, B. So now we want to go back and we want to think to ourselves, what was our formula for volume of a triangular prism? Well, remember, because it's a triangle, we actually had 2. We had volume equals the area of the base times the height of the prism, which is right there. And then we had the formula big B, which is going to be little b times h divided by 2. Now the reason it's little b is because that's the base of the triangle in the triangular prism. So now let's go ahead and see what pieces we can plug in. So it did tell us that we have 140 cubic inches. That was our volume. So we're going to plug that in right over here, 140, right there for the V. Whoops, that was Miss Payuka. So let's go ahead and plug that in right there. And then we're going to, do we know the area of the base yet? Do we know that yet? We don't. So we're going to go ahead and leave that blank. And then we're going to plug in the height of the prism, which if you look over here in green, do you see in green right here, the height of 4 inches? That's talking about the height of the prism, so that's a 4, okay? So now you have 140 equals the area of the base, which is that big B, times 4. So now I'm going to stick with this formula for a second because I'm going to see what I can find out about big B. So in order to do that, I need to divide both sides by 4 because we're undoing that multiply by 4. So now we're just going to divide it out. And we get that big B is equal to, and then off to the side somewhere we can do that math. 140 divided by 4, we get 3, 12, 2, 0, 5. Okay, so we get an area of we get an area of the base of 35. This is where a lot of you broke down last time on the quiz. Excuse me. So now that you have this area of 35, see that right there for big B? Now you want to look at your formula. See that formula right there? You've got a big B. That's where you put that area. So now we're going to have 35 for the big B equals, remember we're solving for the base. Do you see that right there? We're solving for that base, so we don't know it. So base. The height of the triangle is 10. Remember we got that from right there. So times 10. And then the formula still has the divided by 2. You don't want to forget that. So now we're going to go ahead and to get rid of this divided by 2, we're just going to multiply both sides. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. We can even get rid of this 2 like this. We can cross simplify and we get 1 here and we get 5 here. So now, and I'm going to move up here. I hate to do this to you, but I've got to. So now we're going to go ahead and this would normally be underneath. So on your paper it should be. So now we've got 35 equals 5B or B5. Either one is fine. So now to solve it, you're just going to divide by 5, and you get B equals 7. So now your length of your base is actually going to be B equals 7 inches. Okay? And that will be your final answer there. So what I want you to do is go ahead and finish the textbook page that I sent out in the remind text. And you also want to make sure that you do all of this on lined paper. So you want to finish textbook page 789. That's the one that we started today in class. And you just want to do these 2 missing dimension problems. Then we're going to spend some time on, tomorrow, Friday, on reviewing some missing dimension. We're going to do some application problems as well so that you can be completely prepared for your test, which would originally have been on Monday because I'm moving it from Friday to Monday, but then you have your FSA writing test, so it will be on Tuesday. And the math teachers in the department, we all talked about it, so that's what we've decided is probably the best route. So you do have some extra time to study, but you want to make sure you take advantage of that because the questions on the test are going to be deeper level thinking. So we just wanted a little extra time to prepare you for those higher level thinking questions.